Hey everybody, it's Travis. I wanted to address some questions I posted about our spacers the other day. You can go back and look at those, and these are the pieces. I don't spend a bunch of money on pre-cut lumber or anything like that. There's some very common measurements you'll use over and over in regard to making equipment. 3/4 of an inch is your thickness of all your hive boxes, pretty much, when you're running langs. And so don't buy the pre-cut 1x lumber, which measures 3/4. Just get you a 2x4. You can get 3/4 inch rips out of each 2x4, and 2x4 is what, $3 and something. And then from that you can cut your pieces. These are the pieces for that will make one frame. I think out of 2x4s ripped, I can get 10 spacers, 10 full built spacers. And so those are my pieces. They're 14 3/4 inches long and 19 7/8. I don't do any rabbit cuts on the corners and fancy anything. These things don't get a lot of play. They go on in the fall, they come off mid-spring, and so I use Titebond 3 waterproof glue on the corners. Don't use the Titebond 2, don't cheap out, pay the extra, get the gallon of it. And then I use 1.5" crown staples. Get yourself a crown stapler if you're building a lot of equipment. You'll be glad you did. So the Titebond 3 on the corners, 3 crown staples, they're good to go. If you're not throwing these things around, I don't even paint them. So if you're not throwing these things around and beating them up, and you're just putting them on, taking them off, from making a spacer, you can easily turn that into a candy board. You can turn it into a chip board, whatever you want. You can use it, you can make them into deeper inner covers if you want. It's a very basic thing. So that's the thickness of your 2x4. That's 1.5 inches thick. That's 3/4 or 1.5 inches tall, 3/4 of an inch thick. And so, but find what works for you. I know the critics are going to probably come out of the woodwork and swear that their way is the way. I'm just showing you another way. I always tell people there's more ways to keep bees than there are beekeepers. And so find what works for you that keeps your bees alive. Some things can be very simplified. You don't have to spend a bunch of money on gadgets and gimmicks and all this stuff. Very simple, very economical to do this. I drill a hole in one of the end boards. You can use, that's an upper entrance, and you can just simply staple a piece of hardware cloth over that. If you want to reduce it down, you can plug it if you want to. It can be a vent hole, and that's kind of what I do with mine. I keep them aimed out back, and I run migratory covers, so the lip of the migratory cover comes down over that, but there's enough space in between it that bees can come and go, and it doesn't let the wind whip directly into it. So I've got a windbreak over it, I've got space there, and it helps vent some of the that warm air that causes the condensation inside the hive. And I'll post another video on what I do when I put my spacers on. Really don't need a video, but we'll put one up anyway. So this is basically it. Go get yourself some 2x4s, rip them into 3/4 inch strips, and that's going to be one of your most common measurements. And having those strips ready, spend a day and just rip down a bunch of, or spend an hour and rip down a bunch of 2x4s, and have those 3/4 inch strips handy and ready for whatever you need to build. And if you need more spacers, you can cut them into size. They store real easy, and that's it. But save yourself some money, and you don't need any fancy gadgets or gimmicks. Or really, I bought a $50 old Delta table saw that I've made some sleds for and things like that, and different attachments. So I've got a yellow jacket buzzing my head right now. So anyway, that's it. You don't have to spend a lot of money, and you just need to invest in some common sense, and do what you need to do, and stay thrifty. Talk to you later. Bye.